All right, let's see here to check on a few more things. Okay, I got sound, I got green, OBS network. Did this one go? All right. Good morning. Welcome. Put this here. All right. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Coffee cheers if you go to coffee. Let's see, where's the browser? Is right there. Welcome, first of all. Introduction for anybody that might be new. First of all, thanks for watching. My name is Tim. I go by FoamyGuy on GitHub and Discord. I usually stream at this time each week working on CircuitPython related stuff. If you don't know anything about CircuitPython, you can learn a bit more at circuitpython.org here. Basically, this is a version of Python that runs on tiny computers called microcontrollers. And it allows you to plug these devices into your computer. Typically, they show up like a thumb drive. You can edit a code file, Python code file, which is just text on that thumb drive that shows up. And then when you save it, the microcontroller, the computer inside the little chip in here, is actually going to read and interpret and execute that Python code for you. These microcontroller devices come in lots of different shapes and sizes, as you can see on the pictures here. Some of them have lots of I/O pins that you can hook up other electronics and things to, sensors and lights and buttons and all kinds of stuff. Others are more sort of purpose-built without as many sort of general pins and stuff like that. Like this one's kind of a little tablet-like device. It's got a touchscreen. It's got an accelerometer. And a couple of other things, and it does have a few sort of general pins that you can plug into, but not nearly as many as something like this Pico here, which has got pins all lined up down the sides, most of which are I/O pins. So all different shapes and sizes of these things. In particular, the one that I am playing with today is a Pico system, Pimoroni Pico system, which is one of the more purpose-built ones that is kind of like a little handheld game device there. It's got a 240 by 240 display. It uses an RP2040 as its main chip, and you can interface with the buttons and the D-pad. Has a built-in battery. It's got a couple of other features. But that's what we're playing with today. We are just continuing on the game that I was working on yesterday. So if you're interested in this game and you want more of the precursor, you can find it in yesterday's stream over on the Adafruit channel. And I will basically just pick up where I left off, mentioning the Adafruit channel, I guess. Let's say thanks, as always, to Adafruit. How's it going, Ibad Hussein over on YouTube? Good morning, my friend. If you want to get some CircuitPython devices, or you want to get some stuff which you can hook up to your CircuitPython devices, one of the places you can do that is over at Adafruit.com. Adafruit's hardware and software company based out of New York. They design and manufacture hardware devices like some of the microcontrollers we saw on the previous page. And they also design and manufacture all sorts of little add-on accessory boards and things which contain different devices and utilities and capabilities. So if you want to help support CircuitPython, one of the easiest ways to do it is just purchase hardware from Adafruit. They pay the folks who work on CircuitPython full-time. There's a team of folks paid to do so, and there are some folks like me who work on it part-time and are paid by Adafruit to do so. So huge thanks, as always, to them, and huge thanks to everyone who wants to purchase hardware from them. First thing I want to work on today is to do with the way the ball flies. So right now the ball always flies at this sort of 45-degree angle. It will bounce and go to the opposite one, but it's pretty much always on a 45-degree here, which makes a lot of sense because I mean, code-wise makes a lot of sense because somewhere we will have set the ball speed basically to 1-1, which is what's making it fly, or maybe 1-1, I guess, which is what's making it fly up 1 pixel and over 1 pixel with each frame. Where did we actually do that, though? Where's the ball speed set? Maybe we should change it so that it's set here. Oh, you know where it's set is when we start playing, because it starts on 0 and then we set it here. Okay. Maybe we should make an initial ball speed variable so that we can have an easy place to change it. Anyway, though, one thing, though, is I'm going to change around the way it works anyway, so we probably don't want to make a variable for it yet because the variable is going to have to be a different kind. So because these are, you know, equal, essentially, one's positive and one's negative, but that's just because the y-axis is inverted and you need to go lower y pixel value in order to move up the screen. How's it going, Tithe? Pause, game over label, possibly. Yep, we can work on that stuff. Multi-ball, I definitely want to do at some point. I don't know if today is the day, but multi-ball I do feel is definitely in the future. First thing is the ball trajectory is what I want to work on. So the ball is always flying at this 45-degree angle, which is a virtue, a product of the fact that we're always setting the speed here to 1 and 1, or equal values in general are going to result in a 45-degree angle. I want to split it up, though, so that we can have an acute angle or whatever, right? I want to make it so that we can have other angles that are not 45. You know, I also don't necessarily want to just have whatever this would be, half a 45, I think. Can look at what it looks like. I mean, it's not bad. We could probably allow that angle, but that's also not necessarily like, I don't just want to hard code it to that angle either. Really what I want to do is make it so that we can have kind of a range of angles that are based on the idea of we will move x, let me not use x, I suppose, as a variable. We'll move a certain number of pixels in the x axis for every, you know, certain number of pixels in the y-axis. So an example might be, for every 2 pixels in the y-axis, we'll move 1 pixel in the x-axis, which is in fact what I have set it to here. But I would like a mechanism that lets me tweak those numbers, you know, kind of on the go as the game is running, rather than just setting them at the beginning and then letting it stay on the same angle, you know, perhaps mirrored, but still same angle. Yes. So yeah, once we have the ability to manipulate the angle, then when we hit it with the paddle, we will kind of make those tweaks to the ball trajectory based on a couple of things, I think. Maybe where on the paddle it strikes, and then maybe whether the paddle is moving, and if so, which direction. I appreciate you. Where do you work? I work part-time for Adafruit on CircuitPython. Beyond that, I have a full-time job that's not related to Adafruit or CircuitPython. It's more related to digital signage in Android devices. Although, for what it's worth, I'm open to different work, so throwing it out there. And I think basically the way I want to accomplish this is change. So right now we just have speed X and speed Y. What I would like is what is a good name for this concept? So I mean, like, I'm tempted to call it rise over run because this is like the phrase in my head that represents this concept, but I don't think it's a very good variable name. Speed ratio. Let's start with that. Speed ratio. It's going to be a list because it's going to be two values, and those two values are basically going to represent the rise and the run. So let's say if we wanted up by 2 means over by 1, then I'm going to do it that way, or do I want to flip it around? Let me think about this. Should I flip it around? I like rise first because rise over run, again, is the phrase in my head that represents this concept. So I think I'm going to do rise first. Yeah, I think we're going to do y first and then x second. It's kind of like backwards. Usually you would find x things first and y things second. I don't know. For this specific thing, this orientation or this direction, I think makes more sense in my head. So we'll do that, and then when we set it, so when we get started, instead of just hard coding this here, what we'll do is we'll say not self, but well, actually, yeah, self dot balls 0, the ball we're working on, and then we'll set the speed rate. We'll set the x to the speed ratio 1, and we'll set the y to the speed ratio 2. I mean 0. Yeah. So that should make the ball fly the same way as it did last time. Yeah. Okay. I do think I like starting at that angle, that 1 to 2 versus the 1 to 1 actually that we had before. The 1 to 1 where it was always hitting the corner there, and then in the one before it was even going up that little alley. I think I like this one a bit better, starting on a more slight angle. Okay, so now we should be able to like so what we want to do is during the ball tick, we want to update the speed values. Yeah. So this is like bouncing off the sides, bouncing off the bottom, bouncing off the top. But before any of that, what we want to go and do is self.speedx equals self.speedratio1, and then y 0. So we'll constantly update the speed values based on the speed ratio. Theoretically, we could just get rid of these, I guess, but the rest of the code is still using them, and I kind of think I like it that way. Maybe eventually I'll change it, but for now I'm going to keep them and just do it this way. But what this means is we'll be able to update the ratio over time. So for instance, based on whatever we want, like we said before, maybe where on the paddle it hits. And then eventually maybe whether the paddle is moving or not. So let's start with where on the paddle it hits. Okay, so here is where we bounce the ball off the paddle. What we are going to do, we have a is colliding. So we know that the ball is touching the paddle. What I'm going to try to do is say, and my paddle is kind of small, truthfully. But I think what I'm going to do is say, kind of have like imaginary split this paddle into thirds and say if you hit on the right third or the left third, then it's going to manipulate the angle of the ball. And if you hit in the middle, then it won't. It will just be the sweet spot and it will bounce at the perfect opposite angle. And in order to do that, I think I'm gonna just make a helper function that figures that out for me rather than trying to write the math inside of that collision logic up there. So let's say def ball, I mean, a quadrant comes to mind, but they're not really quadrants because there's only 3. Is trident the 3 version of quadrant? Ball section? Ball. Ball collision section? I don't know. I don't really like the name very much, but I also don't want to spend forever trying to think of a name. So ball section it is for now. Basically, this is going to return which of the 3 sections of the paddle the ball is within. We can call those the 3 horizontal sections. And I don't know what we're going to return. We might have enums or something. Yeah, I think let's have enums. So section left, section, I'd like to do middle next. Is there any benefit in going like -0 and then positive? I don't think so. But maybe. I don't think so. Yeah, I can't think of anything. Okay, so we basically just need to know where the ball lies. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to base it on the center of the ball. So we're actually going to pass in ball X and ball Y, which is just representing the center of the ball. And truthfully, we don't even actually need the ball Y. So we're not even going to pass that. We're only going to pass ball X, which is the X coordinate of the center of the ball. Because this function is not going to care about Y at all. It's only going to tell you which quadrant, which it's not really quadrant, which section of the paddle it's within. Maybe we should have one more of these that says section outside. I don't know if we'll need that, but maybe to represent that the ball is not actually in any of the 3 sections. Okay, so we're going to get the 1/3 point. 1/3 point is self.x plus self.width over 3, and I'm going to do it integer style. Two-thirds point. Nice guess, but no, not at all, actually. Thank you, though. What is it? Just went with, like, the height. That's kind of crazy. Let's see here. Width. So then we go 2/3 point. We're just going to times that by 2. Is that gonna throw us off because of this? We might be off by 1 or whatever. I don't know. It might not be perfect, but that's fine. All right, and then we don't really need the 3/3 point. The 3/3 point is just x plus width. Yeah. So now we basically want to decide where the ball x lies. So if the ball x is... Actually, I'm going to do it this way. If, not 0, though. If self.x is less than ball x and ball x is less than 1/3 point, we'll do equals. We'll do equals on this too, actually. So is the ball x between the left of the paddle and the 1/3 point, basically? And if it is, we're going to return section left. Elif. No, that's not quite right. So we're going to say So we're going to say elif 1/3 point less than equals, not self, but ball x less than equals 2/3 point. Then we're going to return middle. Yeah, that one we're getting better. Well, no, not really. But, you know, it's close, I guess. So 2/3 point less than x less than the far right point, which is ball x plus ball width, which is... No. Ball x plus the paddle width, excuse me. Not the ball x, though. We want self x. Yeah, we don't need to divide either, like that's saying. So yeah, the 0 point is self.x, and the right point, the far point on the other side is x plus width of the paddle. Okay, that's going to be a return section right, and then if none of that's true, then we will return section outside. Should we call that section none, maybe? I don't know. I like outside since these are left, right, middle. I don't know, maybe none's still better, but... Okay, so now when the ball hits the paddle, what we can do is... Where's that at? Oh, I collapsed it. Okay, here we go. So when the ball hits the paddle, we are gonna say, so we know it's colliding into here, and then we're gonna say, so the section that it hit, basically, hit section equals self. We're still inside the paddle ball section, and that is going to be the ball.x, which does represent the center of the ball. One thing that's that makes the math in there a bit, I mean, it's not necessarily confusing if you know it, but it's like inconsistent in a way, is that the rectangles, the x is the top left, whereas the circles, the x is the center. That's hit section, and then we'll just say if hit section is equal to section left, we'll do one thing. Elif it's equal to section right, we'll do a different thing. And if it's not equal to any of those, then we will not do anything else special. We'll just let it bounce like normal. Okay, so if it's in the left, what I'm going to do is say... So which way do we want it to go if you hit it on the left? Do we want it to basically go... Do we want it to get more extreme or get more slight? You can eventually try it either way, I suppose. We almost want to know... We almost want to... I think we almost want to know, like, which direction the ball is going, even. So, like, if the ball is going down and left and it hits the left section, then maybe it has one effect, but if the ball is going down and right and it hits the left section, then it has a different effect. So let's say if the ball speed x is greater than 0, which means that we are going to the right. If the ball is flying down and right and it hits the left section, let's make it get a little bit more slight, basically. So it's going to bounce a little bit more vertically rather than being the perfect mirror and be just as extreme. So we're going to say that in that case, then we're going to say ball dot, we're going to update the speed ratio 1 to, so we know this is positive, so we are going to make it bigger because that's going to make the angle more slight, I think. We'll see when we actually play this. I'm not really that great at actually picturing correctly what these geometric things will do. So we can go else there, which means the ball is flying the other way, in which case we will minus on it, I think. And then for section right, I think we would probably just flip these around the other way, probably, right? Or is it left? No. Okay, that was a bad joke. Yeah, let's see what that does. Oops. Oh my. There appears to be a problem with the ball bouncing. Yeah. Maybe that could be like a power up eventually. Maybe if you get a bunch of points or something, maybe you get like tungsten ball. I don't know. Or red hot ball. It melts through the bricks. Why did that happen, I wonder? Well, let's see. I wonder if this maybe should update the ratio instead of the value directly. Yeah, I think that's the problem. I think the problem is we update the y and the x of speed, but then because our tick just sets it to the ratio. Basically, we need to not update these individually. We need to always be updating the ratio. 1 second. Okay, so instead of speed x, let's say the speed ratio 1. And here it would be the speed ratio 0. There we go. Oops, I lost a life. Oops, I lost another. Oh. Okay, so the speed ratio needs to get reset when we start the next life also. Yeah, in fact, it's... Well, actually, here we set it to the speed ratio. Okay, but that... Yeah, so basically, though, we would need to We need to reset it, basically. So we almost want to have like a starting ratio. Radio? Don't actually need these, I think. Is this going to be doing that thing where this is actually like a reference? I do want to copy though. I do want to copy. Is that going to update the original one? I think it is. Yeah. What do we do? Do we pass it to list? Is that what you can do? Reset that. And this one, if we pass it to list, I think that makes a new list, right? That's updated. But that's still the original, okay. Yeah, that's what we want. New list on that, and then also when we go and start a round, basically, we will say might be good to have like a reset function. I think we talked about a reset function yesterday. Every 1,000 points, you get 5 seconds of Powerball. Oh, that'd be a good way to do it. I don't think it bounced off the right side correctly or something. Yeah, it's just going off the side and then losing. Probably we have another, it's probably the same problem. We're updating the X and the Y directly. I should just search for everywhere that does that. Yeah, this shouldn't be doing SpeedX anymore, so it updates off of that. Should we? Yeah, I almost maybe I should have just got rid of the SpeedX and the SpeedY. We maybe probably shouldn't be doing this one here either, but this one is a bit of a more special case and might not matter. I don't think the paddle collision worked. I want to make it so I can move the paddle during this mode as well. We can't move right now. The bounce there is a little weird, the way it goes up, but I think that's my logic that detects which side it hit maybe is not the best. Okay, yeah, we basically have another one of the same problem. Oh, we definitely got a more extreme angle there. We definitely got a more slight angle there. I feel like I hit the center, though. Oh, wow, yeah, we're getting really extreme now. I will say the paddle is so small. Oh, I think that was auto reload. Oh, I'm surprised I made it there. Oh, too far. Wow, it gets going pretty fast there. We should probably... I will probably put a... Yeah, we definitely saw it. It was going completely vertical, and then it changed to a right slant, so... I think maybe... Yeah, we get that upwards bounce in there that's not quite... Okay, so here we're actually on perfectly up and down. So if I go over just a little bit... Okay, I don't think the first section is working, right? This should be first section. Oh, you know what the problem is, I think? We actually need to account for the ball radius. So I'm testing the ball X, which is the center of the ball, and I have that section outside. And right now, the center of the ball is actually just barely outside of the paddle. Now, the full ball still hits the paddle, because obviously the ball has a radius, so its center can be outside and it can still hit. So this needs to be not X, but rather X minus the ball radius, which we don't have. So should we pass in the ball radius, or should we just pass in the ball? I think I'm just going to pass in the ball in case we end up wanting to do anything else. So this would be ball dot X. All of these, and then this here. So self X, the paddle X, minus the ball radius. And then the far side here is going to be self X plus width plus the ball radius. Times 2? Do we need a times 2 for the diameter? How's it going, K-Match? Stopping in the stream to say hi and happy CircuitPython Day. Yeah, thank you. Happy CircuitPython Day to you as well. It's nice to see you, my friend. Yeah, I think... I don't know how I'm ever going to get lined up so perfectly again. Oops. Int has no... Oh, I didn't actually pass the ball in. I just changed the argument. Whoopsie daisies. Okay, here we go. Okay, I made it to perfectly up and down, and I managed to move and have the ball in the center. So we could kill this and... Oh, auto reload got me. I should turn it off. Is now the time? I think now's the time, right? Do I have a boot pie? Yeah, no. Okay, what is it? It's supervisor? Is it? Runtime? Auto reload. False. I think that's it. Probably need to like full reset, guessing. back before it really loaded. Let me just edit this file and open this. Oh, that's not the right one. Okay. Yeah, that did not restart it this time. Okay, so we won't get auto reloaded again. So I'm trying to get back to vertical and then test each side. I think I got the left side there. Nice, that worked. Ooh. That one felt like the center, but I don't know. We should cap the angle, though. It shouldn't be able to get, like, too extreme. Should it? I don't know. Maybe it's more fun that way. Managed to pull it back here. Oh, that was a good one. Oh, I'm not even doing the color at all, am I? Okay, we're back to vertical. See if I can get the right edge. Honestly, I'm surprised I'm not on the right edge. But maybe it's the problem of the center again. And we also did less than equals. So we would be like off by 1 on that side or whatever. I don't know though, that seems like it's not working. Okay, it did work that time. Maybe we should change one of those to be not equals? Just less than? Oh. Oh, that's a good spot. That was fortuitous. I don't have any more blue though, I should change. Yellow. So, is it backwards? I'm gonna change these around and see how it feels. Gotta reopen all this stuff. Let me throw the current code over in the repo also, so we're not having the one and only copy on the device here. A little bit wide, I think. Probably don't need it to be quite that right. Can you open multiples from here? If I just like and right split and in files. There's not just an open though, there's only open and right split. Okay. Alright, that's gonna be in the paddle, which I didn't open. And I'm just gonna try swapping these around and see how that feels. But because I swapped them both, is it gonna actually do anything? Might actually just not. Do those cancel each other out? This is the thing where it's like, I understand the geometric principles, but I don't always, like, whatever my hypothesis is doesn't always end up being the way the geometry actually works. No. Yeah, this is definitely backwards, because now it hits the right edge and goes left. And that, I don't think makes any sense. So yeah, I think we had it where we want it here. Whoa. Wait a minute. What did I do? Did I wreck that? These should not be, hold on. These are wrong. Okay. Yeah. We don't want any times here. I don't know where I got those times from. Oh yeah, we're auto reload. Get used to that here in a minute. Oh. Oop. Sometimes when you're trying to start the round, it also changes the color of the paddle. Whoa, that one was weird. That one was weird. That one felt like it hit the underside, but somehow managed to get going upwards. Oops. Oh, and there's game over. Okay, let's make a game over screen. Which is gonna be... I think I'm gonna do a whole new group. You know, I almost think I want to go back and say all this stuff that we dumped into self.group, like all of these things, I think I'm actually going to go back here and say self.game group equals a new group. And then append all of this stuff to that, and that's going to give us the ability to also have a game over group and switch out the entire game group with the game over group. And everything we have so far is all in the game group. We do also... Was there anything else appending to... So the two labels, the bricks, the paddle, and the ball. I mean, that's everything. It should be everything. We do, whenever we remove a brick, though, we need to go... Instead of game.remove, that needs to be game.gamegroup.remove. Okay, let's make sure that I have not broken anything. I have absolutely broken something. We never added the game group to self, and then we showed the game self instance as root group. Maybe here, let's go self.append game group. Reload. I'm not very good at the color aspect of this game. Keep forgetting to change my my paddle color. There we go, we got a couple bonuses. I wonder, should I make a way to cycle backwards through? I don't know if I could manage to change buttons. Oh, I think I got a bonus there. We got one there, but the bouncing. I'm gonna have to eventually work on the brick collision, I think. It gets a little... I mean, maybe the game's more fun this way, I guess. It's more forgiving, I suppose. It's got this tendency to bounce up when it really shouldn't, which gives the player a pretty big advantage. If I could figure out if I could figure out, like right there, it kind of like almost just terminated through that brick without bouncing to the left for some reason. And like that one, I feel like somewhere up in there, we should have got a downward bounce more than we did, but maybe it's more fun this way. Okay, so to make the game over screen, we want to also have a game over group. And then game over label, new label. That is not what label takes. I'm going to make it bigger. We might be able to fit scale 3, especially if we put a new line. Anchor point. I'm just going to center it. Display size width over 2. Display size height over 2. Okay. We put that in the game over group. And then whenever we get to game over, which is technically happening when the ball hits the ground, which is inside the ball tick. This is a bit of an odd place for it, but... Alright, so when we hit the bottom, if live, so we go here, if we change to game state negative, to game state game over, we could make state like a property, and then we could have some logic that change the group based on that. That might be kind of cool. I think for now I'll just put it here, but it's kind of tempting to do in the long run, is make state a property, and then when you set the property, it also does any other GUI changes that need to happen along with it. Maybe is that getting messy though by attaching the GUI so directly to the state? Is it good to have the state separate? I don't know. Maybe it's better to just do it that way. I don't know. For now, though, let's just go... so we will say game.remove the game group. Remote. Remove the game group. That's not on self, though. That's on game. Move the game group, and then append the game over group. And we might as well, while we're here, go and say, if we're in the game over state, let's give them a way to restart. All right, so if you're in the game over state and you press the B button, we're eventually going to go to state. Actually, I almost think maybe we should go to waiting to start first. Maybe you press the B button once, and that like starts the new game, but the new game starts in the same place as the original one, which is actually waiting on you to press the B button again. Do you think I like that? So with the first press, what we'll do is we'll set the state to this. And then we need to reset all the bricks as well. So I'm just going to make a new function, def init bricks. and take this logic here. Put it into here. And one thing we want to do though, so like if we wanted to get really fancy with this, we could try to reuse bricks technically, because I think you can change the X and the Y and the width and the height and the color index. But as we break them, we're actually just removing them from the group and throwing them away, I think. Yeah. So as we break the bricks, we are removing them from our list of brick objects. We're also removing the shape from the group that it's inside of. And technically, we're just throwing them away at that point. We could, like, keep a recycle bin of brick objects or something, and then pull them out of there and reuse them instead of remaking them. But for now, I'm going to go the lazy way and remake them. But we want to get rid of the old ones. Is there an empty? What's the best way to remove all? We need to... Ooh. We actually need a reference to each one as we do it. Okay, yeah, my computer's been doing that. I don't know why, and I don't like it. Okay, I'm gonna count backwards through the bricks because I don't want to loop through them twice, and we need to remove them from both things as we go. So range is gonna be the length of bricks minus 1 going to minus 1 actually, because it's goes past, and then we go down by 1. So that's the index. So then we're gonna go self.gamegroup.remove self.bricks i.shape. So remove the shape from the group. That's the vector IO rectangle. And then also we're going to go self.bricks.pop I. So then I is going to be counting down so that we're not wrecking our for loop, which we would be doing if we were counting up. I think that should work. We do need to call init bricks inside of init. And then we are also going to go and call init bricks here. When we go from game over to waiting for start. All right, I got to run to the restroom. I will be right back. Okay. Need to restart. Okay. I am just gonna try to lose relatively quick so we can get to the game over screen. Did I show the game? I don't think we actually showed the game over screen, did we? Actually, see, there's another one where we didn't really bounce to the left like we should have. Name error, local variable. Okay, so we definitely have a bug here. Let's see. 97. First state. Oh, we need to actually read the buttons. So, yeah, but here we also want to go self.remove the game over group, and then self.append the game group. Yeah, see, somehow we got going up again there, but it doesn't really make sense. And that one, it just plows through that purple. Okay, game over is showing, but it is not centered, and it is not the other one didn't get removed. Ozotian? But also, did we remove the game group? Yeah, we removed the game group, so we shouldn't be able to see the bricks and stuff. I mean, I guess it's not so bad to be able to keep seeing it. I don't really understand why it's like that, but... Oh, okay, so, yeah, that, we didn't, well, we need to reset the lives for one thing, we need to reset the score for another thing, and we also did not... Let me see here. We did not get that extra sort of like wait for us to press B again. I think we need to... really, we need debouncing, which is the unfortunate bit. It's not so unfortunate, I guess. Yeah. Basically, we need to just have some debouncing. Kind of tried to cheat around the problem and not add it. And I could probably cheat a bit more and get past the specific problem at hand, but it's also going to be better to just add it, honestly. So we're just going to say inside of a init, we go prev state equals prev button state equals game controls dot button. Prev button state equals cur button state, and then let's actually change that to cur button state since we also have a state. And this is definitely talking about the button state. Probably should not do btn for one and button for the other, so I guess let's spell out button. And then here we're going to be able to go if the current button state and not the previous button state. Pretty much we want this on a bunch of these. Okay, broke it. Okay, let's get this at the beginning. No longer inside of here. It's still not working. Okay, it's going far too fast to really be able to see anything. But it is changing, like, if you look right here, that's the B right there, B false most of the time. But when I press, it does change to true. So honestly, I'm not sure why it's not working. I mean, we know that we're not getting inside of here, right? Because otherwise the game would be starting. Okay. If the current state is true, then let's print both the current and the previous. Okay. So okay. So basically the problem is there's no frame where B is true on current state but false on previous state. It's always true on both. Why though? Is this the problem where, are we having the same problem where we're updating the reference or whatever? I think we're having the reference problem actually. We're having the reference problem. I think maybe this needs to be this so that we make a new one. I mean, it would be maybe better to not literally create a new one and instead reuse this one, like update this one to match this one. I suppose would be more efficient. Okay, there we go. And we're trying to get to game over, so let's go to there. I think we should start with 2 on the lives there, because my intention is to give you 3 total. Okay, there we go. So we get to game over. So strangely, the labels are gone, which I almost want to bring back. Okay. It does let us restart, but it is weird because the score didn't get reset, nor the lives, and the ball was just wherever we lost the last game. It didn't start in the actual correct spot. Huh. I wonder, why are we going negative? Interesting. I would have thought that would have got us back to game over. Or is my check is on -1, isn't it? So it will just let you go negative infinite, doesn't it? I think so. Yeah. I should say less than. Okay, but we also do want to reset that stuff. I think I'm gonna do a def reset. Which will do this. Bricks. We need to do anything else? Well, we would want to update the... We would want to update the labels also. We'll start on 2 also, like I was just saying. We should reset the score label also. Eventually we could add high score with NVM like we did a couple of the previous games. So instead of init bricks here, we could say self.reset. I think I'm going to go back and not remove the game group when we show the game over group, because I would like to actually keep the scores. You should be able to see your scores. The lives doesn't matter because it'll be on 0, but you should be able to see the score. And I think what's happening is that we technically removed that stuff, but it didn't go away because nothing marked it as dirty, basically, in the core display IO conceptual sense. But yeah, now that I actually see it there, I do think it would be better to just keep it and even keep the labels as well. I don't know why. I guess that's probably a sign that there's a bug in vector IO somewhere to do with knowing when it's supposed to be dirty. And then the labels don't have that bug, so they pieced out like they were supposed to. Where did we actually do that? That's in ball here. So let's just append the game over group and not remove the game group. And then when we start it back up, let's just remove the game over group. And then we won't need to append that because it'll still be there. Oh, I have also been ignoring the color again. Woo! Nope. That's what happens. I pay too much attention to the color. Alright, so we found equilibrium, but really we want to go to the left. Get some bonuses on our blue. Oh, I should have stayed on orange. I was on orange. Nope, too slow. Ooh. Oh, wow. I think we got that. I think we got that that little channel there on the edge. Because there's a little like hallway or whatever, same way as it used to be, but it's smaller because I moved it over. But I think we hit that little hallway perfectly, which is what let us just wreck that whole right edge row there, or column, I mean. Oh, too far. Eventually, we should let you move the paddle while you're waiting to start. We should also maybe have the ball move with the paddle while you're waiting to start. And then, oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, so score is still visible. Game over. So now we press B once. The game resets. We are back to 2 lives. Oh, the ball. We do need to put the ball back. And then I was just talking about it'd be nice if we could move the paddle and the ball moves with the paddle, which I do want to do eventually. But for now, I'm going to just put the ball back in its hard-coded spot of this. We'll just go game inside a reset. We should move the paddle as well, actually. Technically, we need to do... Well, we... can you lose with more than one ball? No, you can't ever... We can never be... I mean, I shouldn't say never. Okay, here's what we're going to do. If... No. While self.balls length is greater than 1, remove one. So get us all the way down to 1, basically. And then set the X to that. All right, and the paddle too. Let's move the paddle back as well. We should unhardcode this at some point, but eventually I want to have a mechanism that will let you get the paddle to grow a little bit as well. Or should we go the opposite way? Should the paddle start bigger and then shrink to make it harder? I don't know. I like the power-up method. I like the ability to, like, as you do good, you get power-ups, which help you go farther. I think that's a better sort of, like, game loop than it gets harder as time goes on. Okay. Paddle's gonna reset, ball's gonna reset. We should turn off those prints now, maybe. Oh, man. Yeah. Whew. Oh, no. Oop. Okay, there we go. Game over. Reset. Nice. Back to the middle. And then, yeah, we should let you move before you start. Oh, okay. So the thing is that paddle says if you're pressing the right button, move right. But the real problem is that paddle.tick doesn't get called unless the game state is playing currently. So let's do that. Well, we could. Should we just also do it here? Because there are, like, paused you shouldn't be able to, and game over you shouldn't be able to. So yeah, I think we should do this here. That'll tick if we are in playing or waiting to start. And yeah, I'm just gonna leave it only calling paddle tick, and what I'm gonna do is inside of paddle tick, we could say here, oh, I see. Okay, so only allowed to change colors if you're playing. But we're allowed to move no matter what. I mean, as far as in here is concerned, we only need to check for collision if we're playing. So why don't we move this down? And put this in here, because we don't care about collision if we're not actually in the playing state. And in fact, the ball won't be moving, so it'll be colliding anyway. But one more thing I want to do is when we move right here, I think we really need that else, but just make it more clear, I think. So what I want to do is update the ball. So we are in waiting to start. We know there's going to be a single ball. So then, do we have a midpoint property? I want to make a midpoint property. Midpoint return self.x plus all right, so now when we are in the waiting to start and the paddle has moved, we're going to update the ball. To the midpoint of the paddle. So we should be able to move the paddle, and then the ball should follow it. Yeah. Which then gives us the ability to aim our first shot. We can hit that column perfectly like that. Oh no. Oh wow, I can't believe I made that. Oh. Eventually it'd be good to make it somehow to where you can actually get a left lean on your first shot as well. Right now, the first shot is hard-coded to always go... Oops, got too far away. Always go up and right. Can't see the game window anymore? Just swapped. Might have been a minute before I had the browser back up or something. Or I was not actually watching the OBS at all. We did have a random chunk of dropped frames yesterday. It's possible we had the same thing today. Okay, so that got us to game over. How should we control that, though? If we wanted to give the user the ability to control the angle of that first shot to sometimes go left, I don't think I want it to be like full control. It should always be... Whoa. See, that one was weird. Maybe just if they're moving, but... Or maybe which half of the screen they're on, but I would like you to be able to... shoot whichever way you want, no matter which half of the screen you're on. Probably which direction you're moving. But the thing is, if you're not moving at all, I don't really want to give you the straight up and down. Because if you start with the straight up and down, then you can just kill like an entire column of bricks without even moving. And I feel like that's a bit against the spirit. Perhaps the first ball movement should be towards the paddle rather than the bricks. There's an interesting idea. We still have roughly the same decision to make, though. And I still don't necessarily want to make the ball be going perfectly vertical at the beginning. So if the ball is, even if it's going down to start instead of up, something still has to decide whether it's going down and left or down and right, which I just did backwards with my mouse there, so hopefully no one was watching too close to what I was doing. Maybe the dotted lines, maybe show dotted lines for trajectory. Interesting. Show dotted lines for the trajectory. I don't know if I got the geometry chops to show the dotted lines. I think I know what you're talking about, so it would show you like where it's gonna go. I don't know if I know how to draw it. Then if the ball was fixed based on how you move the paddle, you would gain control over the angle. But we do still get back to the same problem. I don't want to let the first shot be perfectly vertical. So even if the ball was fixed and the paddle could move before the first shot, and then the first shot's angle was determined on the thirds of the paddle, just like every other shot are at this point, I don't think I would want that, because I don't want that middle third to give them the opportunity to have a perfectly vertical first shot. Maybe the direction that you last moved. Yeah, that might be the way to go. The direction that you last moved, which we don't currently store, but we could start storing. And then that way, that means if you want to be on the left side of the screen but shoot right, you would just move all the way left and then nudge right just a tiny little bit. That would then make right your most recent direction, which would mean your firing angle would be right. if you wanted to get over here and shoot left, then you would just move left and not nudge right. That would make your first shot hit the wall almost instantly and ricochet. And then you basically would get... And I actually really like this because that nudge is hard to do perfect, right? That nudge, you're unlikely to nudge it the exact same every time, which almost makes it so that you're not able to, like, unless you get really good, you're probably not able to line up an exactly perfect shot every time, which I think I do like. You could just adjust by a degree in the middle, basically, so just artificially adjust. That is true. Random we could do as well. I did consider random. But I like, I think I like giving the player control, but just not like meticulous control. Maybe the dotted line thing could be a power-up. If you get enough points and you enable that power-up, then you get the dotted line at the beginning of the game, and then you could really hone in your starting shot better. That could be cool. I could be down with that. If it's an upgrade and not just like happens always. And I'd have to figure out how to draw the line as well. I don't actually know. I guess it would just be kind of move along the rise and run and draw pixels every now and then or something. We would need a bitmap somehow. Let's see here. So we need I want to store the, let's see, what do we want to call this? The moving direction? But I mean, we want to keep it even after you stop moving as well. So it's like the recently moving direction, or the most recent moving direction, but that's a mouthful. So I'm just going to say recently moving direction. And I am going to make these. Okay, left and right. We almost need a direction none, don't we? Well, we don't really need a direction none. We could just have none. Oh, we do need to decide. And I guess what I'll say is if you don't move the paddle at all, then you'll get right. Or maybe I'll hard code it to be, maybe that could be the random. If you don't move at all, then maybe you can have random. I think that's okay. That way that you can choose to take random by not moving, or you can move and get control of it, but the control is like perhaps imperfect unless you've really practiced it. Okay. So then when we move, so if curse state is right, we're going to go and say technically we could do it in here, and it means we're not updating it as much. Like if we just sit at an edge and keep the arrow key down, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't really matter, I guess, in that state, in that situation, I mean. All right, so when we are waiting to start, when we press the B button, that is setting the speed ratio to the initial ball speed ratio. What I'm going to do is also go and say, and we know the initial speed ratio goes to the right. So what I'm going to say is if paddle recently moving direction so if it was moving left, then we're going to swap it. Speed ratio X flopped around the other way. So if your previous moving direction was left, if we want to do the random, then here's where we would have to put it. Something like elif recently moving direction is none. For now, I'm just going to leave it, but this would be where we would randomly choose left or right. And then we don't actually need the right because technically we default to right. So I think it should just still be there. Let's see if that works. Okay, so it defaults to right. So I'm going to move left and see if we can manage to shoot left. Nice, okay. Now I'm going to lose. I'm going to move right, and then we should shoot right. Nice, okay. Oop. Ah, too fast. Okay, so now I'm going to go left all the way, and then just nudge right. And that's going to let me shoot towards the right, but from the left side. Whoa, somehow that one was a little weird. Oh, interesting. That column is different. I guess it depends on the exact pixel you hit, though. Because in order to get that perfect column shot, you would need to hit each brick perfectly. Nice. Got the orange bonus. Can I get another one? No. Oh. Can I hit the right side there? Almost. All right, can I double bonus on green? Yes. Oh, I should have yellowed. Oh, I can't get back around that fast, though. Could double bonus on red. Yeah, see, so this is a bit cheaty. I don't necessarily want you to be able to start this way. If you earn it in the middle of the round by hitting the correct edge of the paddle while it's moving the correct direction, then I think you earn the chance to break that column if you happen to be savvy enough to keep it still and make sure you hit the middle. But it feels like it would be a bit cheaty if you could do that at the beginning. Oh, I actually made it back around. Nice, and to red even. But there's no way I could hit that next red one. Any angle I choose will be too extreme, I think. Maybe the ricochet. No, orange block was in the way. You know what I don't think I have any logic for is the end of the round. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. He says like he's actually going to make it there without losing, but nope. Yeah, so I jinxed it. I don't think I have any logic for the end of the round. That might be my high score, though. 575? I don't think I've got anything better than that. It might be good eventually to represent the extra lives as actual balls instead of a number. I think that's a pretty customary concept with games like this. Let's take a last couple of minutes. Excuse me, last couple of minutes here. Let's update it in the repo. I don't know that I changed code. Good thing about organizing the code this way down inside the tick functions and everything is like actual top level code.py still the exact same as when I started. Which is kind of cool. All right, so we've done some of this. In fact, we've done all of this so far. Nice. What are some other ideas I have, though? Show balls instead of label for lives. Where's some of the other ones? Random. First shot angle if you haven't moved paddle. Power up for the dotted lines. Dotted lines angle aiming helper power up. I mean, really the idea of power ups in general, I would say. It's kind of like that. Another one of these could be the, I don't know if we want to call it Powerball or what. I'll probably try to think of a different name. Maybe Cannonball? Cannonball? I don't know. Cannonball. Makes the ball go through bricks without bouncing. I think I would like the ability to have an upgrade that's like a laser, so you can shoot laser from the paddle that breaks bricks. That's like a late game type of thing, though. You shouldn't be able to get that until you're already pretty far in. Extra lives when you pass certain score thresholds. Different levels. Right now it's just hard-coded to one level that has 7 rows of bricks. But eventually I would like it to be different levels, and the first level will actually have fewer bricks on it. I kind of did this 7-row mostly as a test to see how fast the screen can actually render and refresh with all those bricks. But ultimately what I would like is, you know, maybe the first level only has like, well, we could do 1 row if we wanted, but I think probably a little more than 1. Maybe like 2 or 3 rows on the first level, and then each level will add an additional row, And then if we want to get really fancy, maybe after level 7, we could start doing some different shapes and some different layouts and things instead of just a pure grid of the bricks. But in general, the idea is just I want different levels. And I'm just open to different ideas on each level. But for now, we'll keep it short and sweet. Multi-ball, definitely want multi-ball. Multi-ball we will probably have to use somewhat sparingly because I do suspect that multi-ball will slow down the rendering, or specifically what it will do is it will make it take more time to check for intersection between the bricks and the balls. It will double the amount of time it takes, or times X, where X is however many balls there are. If we made the logic smarter inside of ball, no, it's inside a brick actually. Okay. Well, I was gonna say, yeah, I mean, it does still multiply it. It does still multiply it, basically. Yeah. So I don't know. It's possible that when we add a second ball, that the rendering is going to slow down to the point where it's noticeable. The ball will appear to fly slower, just because we may not be able to render the screen fast enough. Or I mean, it's not really rendering, but it's the intersection would be the thing taking the time. But I think I'm hopeful. You know, fingers crossed. I'm hoping that 2 or 3 will be not a problem. I'm hoping that with 2 or 3, we'll still be in a level where we can have a reasonable game, especially with some of the intersection logic being in the core. I'm hoping we get to the point where it's fast enough that it'll be able to do that for a couple of balls and be okay. Any other ideas for power-ups right now? Bigger paddle. Bigger paddle. I think that's it for ideas that I've got right this moment. Go ahead and check this in. There's no reason not to. Alright, I'm going to push this one. And I am going to bid you farewell for now. So thank you for hanging out, everybody. Tyeth, C. Grover, K-Match as well. It's good to see you again, my friend. Thanks over in YouTube, Ibad, my friend there. Appreciate you hanging around and watching along. Hope everyone has a good rest of your day and a good weekend. I should be back at the normal time next week, Saturday, 10 a.m. Central Time. I think Scott mentioned being gone for Deep Dive in a couple of weeks, not next week, but the one after. I gotta still check my calendar for sure, but I think I can do that, but I need to check on that one for sure. So maybe Deep Dive in a couple of weeks, but definitely should be back next week at the normal time here, Saturday, 10 a.m. Central. Until then, good day, good weekend, have fun. I will see you later. Thanks for watching.